Is it because we don't say everything on TV?
All right, gentlemen. It's a fine place for us today, but let's move straight to our next conversation. It appears the debacle between two legal professionals in Nigeria over alleged defamation is going to be a long, drawn battle. The Nigerian police have filed fresh charges against Dele Farotimi over alleged defamation against the founder of Afe Babalola University at Ado-Ekiti, Afe Babalola SAN. The case stemmed from a petition by Babalola alleging that Farotimi defamed him in his book and citing 31 excerpts from the book, including one accusing him of corrupting the Nigerian Supreme Court to procure a fraudulent judgment in the service of his client. Now, the Office of the Inspector General of Police filed 12 counts of cyber crimes against Farotimi at the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti on Friday. Now, BKO, there's been all sorts of comments on social media or everywhere on this issue. But first of all, two things. What is wrong with the action of the police in this matter? And also, without sub judice, what is wrong with the step taken by Afe Babalola on this matter?
I don't know what is wrong. Don't know why Nigerians are not prepared to wait. The social media is not a law court.
Correct.
Okay. Just the same way that the social media is not a polling booth. I think in the 2023 election, that was laid to rest. Those who believe that making a lot of noise on social media will guarantee electoral victory. I think they've seen clearly that that's not where elections are won and lost. Many people are simply responding to emotions. One thing that I keep saying to my friends when we are talking about the judiciary is that the law was not designed for a poor man alone. The law is designed for everyone.
Okay.
Whenever we have this kind of situation, our people tend to always favor the underdog. They don't care about the story of the victim. So what happened with Burna Boy?
Okay.
And SP Darlington.
Yes.
If you accuse me of being a fagot, for example, I will fight with everything that I've got because I know that that's the last thing I will do. Instead of doing that, I will invite God, if I had the power of Elijah, to take my life immediately rather than resort to gay practices. It's not going to happen. So if you accuse me of that, how do you think I will feel? I don't know whether Dele Farotimi has evidence
to back
for all that he has written. If he says Baba has corrupted the judiciary, for example, he better have evidence of money changing hands between Baba and the Supreme Court judges and other people that were mentioned. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day. Many people do not know the difference between libel and criminal libel.
Yeah.
They don't know the difference.
Difference.
If Baba Afe Babalola dies today, the case will continue. But in ordinary libel, if the victim dies, that's the end. I've been involved in libel cases as editor of the news. I've appeared in court a number of times. Even after I joined TVC, they still beg me to come and give testimony in some libel cases that we had. You know? And by the grace of God, we didn't lose any of those cases. So this is not something new to me.
Okay.
So Baba may have deliberately decided to opt for criminal libel so that even when he dies,
the case will continue.
The case can continue because it's the state now. It's the state now against you. You understand?
Okay.
And I have not seen evidence, but people told me, and somebody pointed to a video, that Dele Farotimi was invited, and he did not honor the invitation.
Yes, that was a video. He said so himself.
So if you were invited and you did not honor the invitation, you were invited by the police, somebody lodged a complaint, and the police have invited him, come and you have a complaint to so, come and defend yourself. And you chose not to go. Activism does not mean that you must disrespect the institutions of the state.
Okay.
No. We are all activists too. I led protests in the University of Ilorin. And for 4 days, after they told us to vacate the hostels, we did not vacate the hostel. It's a record in Nigeria. We stayed inside the campus. And I was the one addressing every morning. We didn't go. They fired more than 60 to 70 canisters of tear gas into our campus. The mini campus, as small as it was that time. We didn't go. We remained on campus. So activism is not new to some of us. But the law is the law. If they say, come and defend yourself, you have to go. If you do not go, they will come for you.
Okay.
And when they come for you and they take you in, it is not an abduction. It's an arrest. There's a difference, because some are calling this a kidnap.
Okay.
And some lawyers, including those that are professors, are saying now they don't have jurisdiction, that the magistrate court does not have jurisdiction. In criminal matters within states, those magistrates have jurisdiction. Okay. It's the same way some lawyers were telling us, including senior lawyers, that when it comes to chieftaincy matter, that the Federal High Court does not have jurisdiction. Of course, it has jurisdiction once the claimant is seeking the affirmation of his fundamental
human rights.
So people should not bring emotions into this thing. The person who feels that he's been libeled. There's also something that I heard people saying. I want to just address that quickly. That the statement by Justice Amina Ojie, where he berated Olanipekun's son and Baba Afe Babalola, that amounts to evidence
of corruption.
This is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
A judge accusing you of doing the wrong thing by filing a frivolous charge. What did they do? They told the Supreme Court to
reverse itself.
To look at a matter that had decided again. That's frivolous. The Supreme Court will not reverse itself.
Exactly.
How does that constitute corrupting judges?
No.
What is going on?
In fact, they were fined.
They were fined.
No, they say, for taking the time.
But it is not corruption in the real sense. They wanted to win.
You're supposed to test the court. That is how all these landmark cases that you see in judgment. That's how it came about. If you don't ask, if you don't ask for a relief, you won't get it.
All right, Mayor, because of our time, our guest is waiting. I need your thoughts.
What I want to add to that is this. A 92-year-old man, an icon in the jurisprudence in this country, was labeled by a lawyer.
Yes.
You understand? Weighty accusations, one of them that he corrupted judges, for a case that was a land case that he won in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
That even Dele was not even a lawyer to that party at the Supreme Court.
Okay.
It was Anthony Williams that was on the other side.
Matter.
It was when they wanted to effect that judgment that one of the estates that was impacted by that case, he now was the lawyer to that person. But you see, what we are going to do is that, yes, I agree that we have problems with Nigerian judiciary.
Yes.
But it is irresponsible for a professional to sit down and say that somebody corrupted all the Supreme Court judges. You cannot say that. You have to, evil consequences must come with clean hands. You must bring those
evidence
to show that they were corrupted.
They gave them money.
If you don't do that, you can do activists and talk to your people on social media And I know Dele, I listened to him several times. That activism is not law.
It's not law.
You have to come to court.
Bring your evidence.
Come and prove that the Supreme Court judges were corrupted. Because you see, we have to look at the images of these people.
Sure.
You cannot corrupt somebody, a 92-year-old man that have spent almost his adult life in law, and then you now try to create a wrong version of him. Now, you look at judges. You look at lawyers in that chamber.
Yes.
You look at judges in Lagos. He just maligns so many people. And I watched the podcast with Seun Okubaloye. Yes. When Seun was asking him to say, look,
do you have evidence?
Allegations like this.
What is evidence? Proof? Tell us those things. Tell the viewers the evidence that you have. And he was grandstanding there. I was saying that Shebi, they used to say that if you don't like it, go to court. Let them go to court now.
Now they have gone to court.
He was grandstanding. Now they've gone to court. Some people are putting emotions there. Criminal libel is allowed. It's only in Lagos that they've removed
Lagos and Edo.
Yes,
Lagos and Edo.
Lagos and Edo. In Ekiti, criminal libel is alive and well.
Yes.
Let him go and have his
And if the man read the story, if he read the book in Ekiti, it's within his rights.
Of course, you can seek your relief anywhere.
All right, gentlemen, we need to. Joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this issue is a lawyer, Jiti Ogunye. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Can you hear
us, Jiti?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Well, we can hear you too now.
All right, let's start this conversation this way. We've been chewing on this, in the studio, but I'll bring it to you from a legal perspective. There's been comments on this. The action by the police, and also, what do you think is wrong with? Is there something wrong with the action of the police? And also, Afe Babalola, the way he has gone about the matter. What is wrong with it? Let's have your thoughts from the legal perspective.
Thanks for inviting me to our esteemed program, which is very popular and does a lot to enlighten the general public on current affairs. Now, I accepted your invitation to speak on this matter, the measure of reluctance. So I have recently spoken on the matter, but, I have a lot of respect for your anchors, BKO, and Ayo, and everybody that appeared on your program. And because the business of enlightenment is a very important business, we cannot, for reason of not appearing unwittingly, to be concentrating on a particular person who is undergoing criminal justice challenges, refrain from, sharing our thoughts. With that said, let me say as follows. When the news broke that Dele Farotimi had been arrested, in a knee-jerk fashion and with spontaneity, a number of organizations and persons made their usual and predictable responses. Of note was the spontaneous reaction of the NBA, our own professional association. It was as if the NBA was under compulsion to make a press statement, declaring categorically that what had been done was illegal and unconstitutional and all that. And a number of lawyers, a number of us were embarrassed because the NBA had no reason to jump into the matter and then quickly issue that statement. He could have waited a little bit to really understand what was going on. And now it's evident that lawyers, many lawyers, senior lawyers were involved in this matter. So if the NBA exists to protect the interests of its members and to protect the rule of law, the question then will be whose interest was it protecting when it hastily did what it did. There's always pitfall in spontaneity and in reacting, without actually trying to know what has actually happened. Now, there was an arrest which was effected in Lagos by the police, which was dubbed mischievously a kidnap and an abduction. Language matters. more so when we're talking about offensive publication of language. On this occasion, that was how the arrest was characterized and all that. Picture of siege and invasion and unlawful arrest, that picture was quickly portrayed. We've weighed in by saying that criminal defamation exists in our law, just as civil defamation. The Facebook and social media laymen claiming to be lawyers and telling us because of action to take by a person who's injured in his character or whose character has been harmed is nothing but mere powder. Criminal defamation does exist in our law. And the point has been made that under the Criminal Code Act, Section 373 to 377, 378 cover criminal defamation. It's a misdemeanor and a felony at the same time. It's a felony if it is calculated to blackmail and extort, it's 7 years imprisonment. If it is falsehood knowingly made by the person who perpetrated that falsehood, is 1 year or 2 years, depending on the level of knowledge of its falsehood. So it's covered by our law. Of course, there's a defense to it, which is the defense of truth, and public interest and justification. If it is the truth, if there's evidence, if public interest demands that publication be made, of course, that offers categorical and absolute defense. Now, I know that a number of people have argued that criminal defamation is no longer part of our law. That's not true. It is true, however, that in Lagos State and in the state by law reform, this has been removed. This has been deleted. It's been repealed. In Lagos State, it was done in 2011. I've spoken to the Attorney General, former Attorney General of the state today, based on the usual internet, social media posturing that criminal defamation is no longer part of the state law. And the Attorney General told me that that's not true. In any case, if you look at the charge that was preferred at the magistrate court, a number of things will be evident. The first is that the charge was not preferred by the Attorney General of the state. The charge was preferred by a police officer in the magistrate court, meaning that on the authority of Federal Republic of Nigeria and SAHON, decided in 2006 by the Supreme Court, the police has subsisting power, distinct from the power of the Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of the state, in respect of public prosecution, to prosecute independently of the Attorney General from a magistrate court to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So that point must be made clearly to those who are still dancing around the issue and are not sober at all in discussing this issue. The second issue is that the charges that were preferred, those 12 counts, were preferred in respect of Section 59 of the Criminal Code Act and Section 373 and 375 that prescribe the punishment for criminal defamation. So it's not only criminal defamation, but also was preferred in respect of publication of false news with intent to cause fear and harm public. So if somebody published a book and said that the judiciary is no longer capable of giving justice and that the judiciary is dead, all the justices there are corrupt, one person is the grandmaster of corruption, is corrupted, who will have confidence in the Supreme Court anymore? In the Commonwealth, not only in Nigeria, in this digital age, where everything that we say here is set to a global audience. In the Commonwealth of Nations, in the common law countries, or countries of common law jurisdiction, who have respect for the Nigerian judiciary anymore. That's an invitation to anarchy. So I'm just saying this, that these charges are weighty charges. So those who are just dancing around and saying all that they are saying, can say what they're saying. So in other words, even if, as is being suggested, that criminal defamation does not exist any longer in Ekiti State, because there is a posturing that has been deleted from the law of that state. I have not confirmed that. Even if that were to happen, the police will still independently prosecute under the Criminal Code Act. So, meaning that it's no longer a state offense now, it has become a federal offense. So that even in Lagos here, the police can also prosecute that under the Criminal Code Act as a federal offense and not a state offense anymore. Not to talk of the latter charge that was preferred at the Federal High Court under the Cyber Crimes Act in respect of that interview that you referenced earlier under Section 24. In other words, the point is that when things happen like this, grandstanding should be shown. Political biases should be jettisoned. Reputational damage is a serious thing for lawyers. You know, and we're not talking about one lawyer, we're talking about many lawyers who are involved by a person who was only peripherally related to the matter. Dele Farotimi, from what we know now, didn't participate in the litigation at the Supreme Court. He didn't participate in the litigation before that. It was at the stage of execution. And it was alleged that an ally or a friend of his who had an estate, you know, and who bought land from one estate party, you know, was impacted. And so, and if that was even the case, in what way was he a victim personally as a lawyer practicing? You know, in what way was he personally cheated? That would be the cause of his client. So would it have been warranted, for a lawyer to do what he did just because his client, according to him, was negatively impacted and all that? So, and all sort of persons were mentioned there. So as of today, as I've argued elsewhere, it's possible for the Attorney General of the Federation, for example, to maintain an independent action, not in respect of defamation, just there to defend the integrity of the Supreme Court. If there's a complaint by the NJC, for example, and all that. Now, all this, and this, what is important for me, many of us, all our life, and I'm happy that DQ referred to libel cases when it was in the news and all that. We were servicing the news there, in some of the libel cases, as we do now, to Premium Times and some other media organizations and their lawyers. And we see this thing happen every day. Our fear is that even the new Cyber Crimes Act and criminal defamation could be used against regular journalists. So the coverage could be extended. So for those who, after the passage of the Freedom of Information Act, and who wants an open society, a more democratic, a more human rights observing society where there's transparency and accountability, who are saying that these laws that weigh heavily on people who may want to say the truth, whistleblower, and so on and so forth, these laws shouldn't be extended to them and all that. This kind of conduct will even make a state like Lagos and Edo, for example, to reintroduce into their own laws criminal defamation, and said that we are mistaken. We thought that because it's become a menace. It become a menace. People go to the social media, deliberately libel you, defame people, and they then say, sue me to court. And now people are saying that our judiciary is finished. One universal ombudsman, in Nigeria, is the person to whom petition should be sent. He's now the one doing investigation, who is working as if we were a police force, as if we were the judiciary. Arrant nonsense, pardon my French. And that's what we're keeping our society, moving our society on the verge of anarchy. That's not the kind of society I want to live in. So there's a problem. And so what we need to do is to be sober. I've seen people talking about abduction and kidnapping in Lagos. The person involved got wind of what was going on in the state. What did he do? He addressed a press conference and declared that he would not dignify what was going on in the state presence. And that if they wanted him, they knew his house. and they knew where to get him. But I was not going to run away from Nigeria. I'm quoting him.
Yes,
now, for those who are talking about law, because we've been in this business of law for some time, without sense of modesty. Modesty. There is a particular case called Oluonogorua and Justice Nwokedi. It's published by Nigerian in Nigerian Constitutional Law Report by Chief Ganifa and God rest his soul, a senior advocate of Nigeria and senior advocate of masses. There was a case in Second Republic, and late Dr. Oluonogorua, was involved in the old Anambra State before Justice Nwokedi, who at the time was Chief Judge of Anambra State. And Dr. Oluonogorua made some statements outside the court, and he was cited for contempt. And Justice Nwokedi issued a bench warrant for his arrest. When Dr. Oluonogorua got wind of that bench warrant, what did he do? He didn't sit down at home, lame duck himself and say, come and get me if you can get me. What did he do? He went to the Lagos High Court. Honorable Justice Candide Johnson, who later became the CJ. No, he was even the CJ then, CJ of Lagos State, intervened in the fundamental right enforcement matter, brought by Chief Ganifa, who was like a Siamese twins to Dr. Oluonogorua before Abacha's mischief, and Biya's perfidy, put asunder their great friendship. But God rest the soul of them because they were great people and giants in the field of law. Now, Honorable Justice Candide Johnson took the matter and he set aside that bench warrant in Lagos. And what did he say? He said, no. Because the question came up whether I was trying to act as a court of appeal over Honorable Justice Nwokedi's bench warrant. And he said, no, we are a court of coordinated and concurrent jurisdiction. I'm not a court of appeal over him. But the bench warrant is meant to be executed in Lagos, and I've examined it within Lagos here, that it impinges on the right to liberty of Dr. Oluonogorua. So I'm acting under the special jurisdiction granted me by the Constitution, Section 42 then of the 1979 Constitution, which is Section 46 of the 1990 Constitution, which says that anybody who alleges that his right is being, has been, or is about to be infringed any fundamental right can approach the High Court, for intervention and for relief. He said he was acting under that special jurisdiction, Section 42 then, to act and to set aside that bench warrant. That was good law. That was creativity. That was advocacy at its best. That was common sense. They didn't sit down saying, do whatever you want to do in it. I can't do anything. And then talking about abduction later. Post 8 went to court. Now, the person that was discussing what did he do is something different. And in any case, if you as a lawyer have gone to the television many times to declare that you are no longer in legal practice because the judiciary is incapable of delivering justice in any situation that is useless. And I'm quoting this person. So, is it not contradictory in terms now that you say you want to bring a fundamental right application to press for your fundamental rights? So if the court truly were incapable of delivering justice in any case, so what are you doing there to press for your rights? So in public intellection and in public discussion, decorum, being nuanced, being, doing the right is still a virtue. It's still a virtue. And that's what I commend to all the people that are intervening in this matter. There could still be some way to mitigate, to de-escalate, and for the person to get out of legal trouble, because I don't want people getting into legal trouble. But to continue to grandstand and be saying that, oh, this is injustice, this is whatever, some of our younger colleagues are doing, who are prone to going to the media and just making wild allegations about what the law is and what the law is not. That's not the way to go. Criminal defamation exists. What is going on in this country may even make it stronger. That's my fear. I don't want it to be stronger because I support the idea of, having these things,
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jiti Ogunye. Thank you very much. Really robust explanation there. Really robust
presentation.
Thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangout.
Yes, it's my pleasure.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
He's always had it in his locker.
Exactly.
He's one of the most brilliant lawyers in this country. I don't see this kind of thing frequently. I've interacted with him. We know who are good lawyers. We know those who are just empty barrels. We know, and I know that GT has far more quality than some of the people we see. And he's very truthful. To say the truth, what are you going to do to him?
Exactly.
So, this is the truth. I feel for Farotimi because he doesn't know what he's got himself into.
Does not know.
People who say, who will hail you and hail you, they are the same people who will come behind and say, oh, God,
exactly.
So this is how our people are.
Because I see Supreme Court justices and other lawyers can still...
Others can still...
There's an independent charges. Exactly.
They can still find their own complaints.
Because it manage so many people, in the judiciary in Lagos, lawyers in the chambers,
but anyway,
justices.
But anyway.
That's the thing. And it's well within their right. He doesn't know. And, whichever way people look at it, because these days, we do not want to say the truth anymore. That's why the EFCC will recover 753 houses. Some of the people want us to see them as moral champions on social media and everywhere. They don't even think that anything has happened because they have sympathy for
the person.
So this is the thing.
True.
We are the same people not sitting on TV and saying we stand by Mefele, we stand by, and I said it that you should be ashamed of yourself.
Okay.
Time is a gentleman.
Exactly.
Time has proved to us that those who are saying that time that they stood by him, they were indeed shameless people. And we can see now that it was a wrong judgment on their part.
Exactly.
To stand by somebody who stood against the ordinary Nigerian, who made the ordinary Nigerian suffer, who made the ordinary Nigerian die. So, as for us here, we are not going to jump on the bandwagon.
Okay.
We are not going to determine what to say based on a desire for people to hail us. Journalism does not have to pander to the whims and caprices of the majority. No, because the majority is not always right.
It's not always right, sure.
But just be on the side of the truth. Imagine yourself to be in that position. How would you feel? Your reaction would be different.
Exactly.
So we must always bear that in mind. As I said earlier, the law was designed for both the rich and the poor, for both the privileged and the unprivileged, for both the underdog and the one who doesn't see himself as underdog. So we must be guided by that reality in making the comments that we are making. At the end of the day, it is the law that matters, not emotions.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate you. Mayor Akinpelu, really wonderful having you.
Pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. BK, as always, thank you very much. And that's all on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.